Thanks for joining us for KIMT News 3 at 10. I'm Katie Lang.
And I'm George Mallet. First tonight, it's a Rochester priority, helping the many people experiencing homelessness here in the Med City.
Tonight, a panel of experts discussed how people of faith and others in the Med City can make a difference for those in need.
KIMT News 3's Anthony Monzon joins us live from St. Luke's Episcopal Church, one of the organizations that hosted the conversation. Anthony.
Yeah, Katie and George, as you mentioned, tonight's forum was organized by faith leaders like the folks here at St. Luke's, but the advice that was given could really be useful for anybody. And it came from a wide array of organizations that work with people experiencing homelessness here in Rochester, and they gave some simple and practical ways each of us can get involved. One of the foremost ways mentioned was donating. Some items panelists said are most needed are water, milk, jeans, camping equipment, and toiletries. You can also get involved personally and sign up to volunteer with one of these organizations that's working with these folks. Some of them say they rely heavily on volunteers, and there's always a need for more helping hands, no matter your skill set.
Anybody that cares for others, we can always find something for you to do. And if we can't, I'm sure we can refer you to all the other panelists and they can find something for you as well. There's more needs out there than there are volunteers that can help them.
And one more way that you can, again, try to help out with this issue is by checking your own views towards homelessness. Again, some of these representatives say it's so important to have compassion because you never know what people are going through. Live in Rochester, Anthony Monzon, KIMT News 3.
Thanks, Anthony. Panelists also say one of the most common myths about homelessness is that those experiencing it have somehow made a bad decision, when really any one of us could find ourselves in that position after some sort of unforeseen event.
New developments in the George Floyd murder case. Prosecutors are now seeking another charge against 3 of the ex-cops charged in his death. Tebow, J. Alexander King, and Thomas Lane are charged with aiding and abetting second-degree murder and manslaughter. In the Minnesota Court of Appeals, prosecutors are trying to convince the 3-judge panel to add a count of aiding and abetting third-degree murder. The defense attorneys argue that's legally impossible because third-degree murder is an unintentional act, while aiding and abetting must be intentional.
Authorities are now identifying the man found dead next to his fishing boat Monday night. The Wabasha County Sheriff's Office saying 89-year-old Victor Grabow drowned in the main channel of the Mississippi inside the Weaver Bottoms. Deputies say his unoccupied fishing boat was spinning in circles near his body.
Let's take a live look now over downtown Rochester. We've got some rain set to move through the area.
KIMT Storm Team 3 Chief Meteorologist Erin White joins us now. And Erin, you've been busy this evening. Just keeping an eye on things, huh?
Yeah, kind of just watching the radar, monitoring the potential development for some severe weather. Luckily, we did not have that. There were a couple storms that were showing some signs of rotation. The good news is those are diminishing, and we are not seeing any storms showing any rotation across the area right now. The good news, though, is we are seeing much needed rainfall across southeast Minnesota and northern Iowa. This storm here in Winona County. That's the one we were watching about an hour and a half ago that had some signs of rotation. Not seeing that now, but all this rain is moving to the north. You can see some moderate rainfall across Saragordo County and Mason City, Clear Lake, back to the south and west. And all of this is going to be lifting to the north through the overnight hours and into tomorrow morning. So again, some much needed rainfall. We are tracking some more storms for tomorrow and eventually some warmer conditions arriving for the weekend. I'll talk about that in my full forecast coming up here in about 10 minutes.
Thanks, Erin. Fewer Americans are rolling up our sleeves for a coronavirus vaccine. That's according to CDC data published today. In fact, the average daily pace of vaccinations is down nearly 50% from its April peak. Now, over the last week, roughly 1.8 million doses of the vaccine were given each day. Almost 127 million people in the U.S. are now fully vaccinated. That's about 38% of our population.
Health officials from Olmsted County and Mayo Clinic met today to discuss vaccine progress in the community's response. Olmsted County Public Health has begun offering clinics targeting ages from 12 to 15 years old. Side effects for teens are similar to the adult population, mild, short-lived symptoms in the first few days after getting the vaccination. Guidance from the CDC says anyone fully vaccinated under the age of 18 does not have to quarantine if exposed to the virus.
So that's part, in my opinion, of us getting back to normal is not having to go through all of these hoops. I think when people do get exposed or when there's risk in the community.
83 new coronavirus cases were reported last week in Olmsted County, the lowest number since September.
The Minnesota Chiefs of Police Association is naming Eric Mattson, the Waseca police officer who was shot in the line of duty, the Police Officer of the Year. MCPA President Eric Werner, a police chief in Maple Grove, says these awards call out some of the best, brightest, and bravest men and women in Minnesota law enforcement. Mattson was shot and seriously injured when responding to a suspicious person complaint in early 2020. The man who critically injured Mattson, Tyler Janofsky, is now serving 35 years in the lockup for attempted murder.
Well, it's a big break in a Minnesota cold case. A man is now facing charges for the 2010 murder of Heidi Firkus. Police arrested Heidi's husband, Nick Firkus, 11 years after he told authorities an intruder had broken into their St. Paul home and that she was shot during a struggle. Before this, no one had been arrested for the killing, though police say they never stopped investigating the case.
This is a tragic case that touches us all deeply. That's why we never quit. We never closed it. We never stopped working it, looking at evidence, searching for evidence with the determination ultimately to get to the truth.
If convicted, Nick Firkus could face up to 40 years in prison.
Today we'll be fishing for brown trout and rainbow trout.
I head to Lanesboro for a day of fly fishing. How the waterways of southeastern Minnesota offer a hidden gem for those looking to experience a different kind of fishing.
Plus, bringing pandemic protection to the fairgrounds, the new booths you could see at summer events.
KIMT News 3 at 10, live from Rochester. Your local news with KIMT News 3's Katie Lang and George Mallet. Tracking storms with Storm Team 3 Chief Meteorologist Erin White. This is KIMT News 3. More local news that is happening now from your community. We are coverage you can count on.
Local leaders are considering setting up coronavirus vaccine booths at fairs and festivals this summer. While there are no final plans in place just yet, conversations have taken place between health experts and organizers of upcoming events here in Olmsted County. Brandon Helgeson, he's the director of Rochester Fest and the Olmsted County Free Fair, says if officials can make it happen, well, he's on board. Let's do it.
I think that it is a good way to maybe help, again, get the word out to get vaccinated or give them an opportunity, hey, you can do a shot in the show.
If it is deemed possible, Helgeson believes many in the event industry would be eager to get involved.
A big milestone achievement for the Destination Medical Center's Discovery Square district in Rochester. The Healthcare Innovation Building, called One Discovery Square, is now fully leased. The building opened in 2019. Construction of the 2 Discovery Square buildings started in 2020 and is expected to open next year. Erin?
Thanks, Katie. Well, I'm tracking some much needed rain across the area. This is going to continue right on through tonight into part of Friday morning, but we are looking at some sunshine for the weekend. The latest forecast is coming up after the break.
Plus, a ceasefire celebration after nearly 2 weeks of fighting, the halt in hostilities in the Middle East.
Whether you're an angler looking for a new way to reel in a catch or entirely new to the sport of fishing, you may not even realize the many opportunities less than an hour from the Med City to try your hands at fly fishing. Nestled along the main drag in Lanesboro, you'll find Root River Rod Co. The fly fishing shop's been in business for about 5 years.
A fly rod allows you to cast these real light flies because all the weight is in the line. The lighter the fly, the easier it is to cast.
Owner Steve Sabiniak says the driftless region provides a hidden gem for fly fishing.
There's 70 streams here within 45 minutes of Lanesboro with hundreds of miles of easements.
A quick peek around the shop. You'll find everything you need to get outfitted.
It's primarily brown trout, that you catch around here, and they're natural reproducing brown trout. They stock rainbows.
If you decide to take a casting lesson before you head out on the water,
I got bored with spin fishing, and I picked up a fly rod and I was hooked.
you might meet Marlene Houston. She's a certified fly casting instructor.
Up, 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 up. You're gonna stop and let it unroll, go. So we have to get that nice and easy.
Soon I was heading down to the banks of the Root River to meet up with my fishing guide, Lance Prado.
The best part about being a guide is just teaching people how to fish and getting them outdoors. Seeing that reaction the first time they hook into a fish.
I might as well save you the suspense. I didn't catch any trout during my trip. But this is video Lance shot earlier this season as he reeled in some fish.
First fish of the day. Brown. Nice little guy.
Deep breaths of fresh air, the sweet sounds of nature while afloat on the flowing Root River may be constants when fly fishing. But Marlene tells me no 2 days on the water are ever the same.
It's a challenge. Every day is different. You never fish the same river twice.
Root River Rod Co. also offers a wide selection of bamboo rods that Steve handcrafts. Fishing in Minnesota gained pandemic popularity. According to the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources, it was offering a safe, socially distanced outdoor activity.
We track storms to alert you first. This is KIMT Storm Team 3, weather coverage you can count on.
And we're joined now by KIMT Storm Team 3 Chief Meteorologist Erin White.
All right, Erin, I know we still got tomorrow until we officially make it to the weekend.
Almost
but
there.
Yeah, what are you looking at for this weekend? What are you tracking?
I will say overall the weekend is looking a lot better. We're going to get rid of some of that cloud cover. We're going to get some sunshine in here and also some nice warm temperatures for Saturday. But we are looking at the chance that there could be a couple storms over the weekend, but more so as we go into Sunday. We'll talk about that here in the 7-day forecast. As we look live over Rochester right now, we are mostly dry. There's a couple sprinkles out there for the moment. 67 degrees this hour, but we do have the rain falling in Mason City as we look live. 64 degrees, but some moderate rain falling in North Iowa, Mason City, Clear Lake, also over towards Forest City. And we're going to keep the rain going through the overnight hours. Much needed rain as we still have that moderate drought and likely going to see those conditions improving as we head into next week with more chances of rain as well. But here's a look at some of the reports from the last couple of days. Mankato about 3/4 of an inch. Same for Charles City, 71/100ths of an inch. And we had Rochester just shy of that as well. And then amounts did start to decrease as we get towards Mason City, right around 1/2 inch. Still definitely a welcome rainfall. Preston just shy of 1/2 inch. Same for Dodge Center. And amounts were a little bit lighter around Albert Lee and Decorah, but we are looking at more rain across the area right now. As we look at our radar, you can see that picture, a lot of green on the map, some yellows and oranges shown up. That's indicative of some moderate rain falling across areas around Steele and Dodge counties down towards the Albert Lee, Austin area, even into Mason City, right just to the west of there around Clear Lake, some moderate rain. Seeing some more activity around Winona, back to the west, just near Rochester, just south in southern Olmsted County near Stewartville, over towards Blooming Prairie, Austin, Albert Lee, all seeing the rain. And all of this is going to be continuing to lift to the north as we go through tonight. You can see a large area of rain, kind of a subtropical moisture, if you will, as we had a lot of cloud cover the last couple of days. It's been rather muggy, rather humid as our dew points are up into the 60s, and it is feeling a little bit tropical out there, and that trend will continue as we go into tomorrow. And even for the weekend, we're going to have those high dew points. We're going to have warmer temperatures, so it's going to start to feel a bit humid going into Saturday and Sunday. Now, as we look at Sky Tracker 3 for tonight, scattered showers and storms will be possible, more so just general rain. Not looking at any severe weather for tonight. That threat has basically ended for the rest of today and for tonight. As we go through the overnight hours, again, scattered showers will continue. We'll see some rain around during the morning hours, but a lot of this is going to be clearing out of here for the afternoon. There could be some redeveloping showers or storms by the afternoon, calling for maybe about 20% of the chance of that happening. But notice, we are tracking at least some sunshine and temperatures jumping up into the upper 70s, maybe even 80s. But as we head into Saturday, definitely going to be seeing those 80s, middle to maybe some upper 80s out there. So very warm conditions are on the way for the weekend. Rainfall totals for tonight could see another half an inch, maybe up to an inch of rainfall with some of those heavier showers moving through. 7-day forecast showing highs in the 80s for the weekend. Another chance of storms on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday before turning just a touch cooler with highs back in the 70s on Wednesday.
Thanks, Erin. In the Hawkeye State, it's been optional to wear a mask statewide since February. Well, now a new law is actually banning Iowa cities and counties from enacting any sort of their own mask mandate. Governor Kim Reynolds signed that legislation early this morning. The law also mandates that schools can't require students, staff, or guests to wear a mask while on school property. Mason City Administrator Erin Burnett is disappointed that local control has been taken away by the governor's action, and as mask usage declines, he's just asking residents and visitors to go ahead and put one on.
That's really the approach we have to take right now, is just recommendations. And it takes, honestly, it takes a more important role now that we are seeing less and less mask usage. It's now more important than ever either to get vaccinated or to be more diligent with your mask usage.
Burnett knows of no legal challenges to the law, and it might be tricky anyway, as the Iowa Attorney General has already ruled on the issue.
COVID-19 vaccination rates are up among military service members. It comes after a massive effort by the Pentagon to promote the safety and efficacy of the vaccines. In March, the military said a third of troops were opting out of being vaccinated. Now it's seen a 55% jump in vaccines over the last month since vaccinations were opened up to the general public on April 19th.
Well, it's already Friday morning in the Middle East, where a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas has now taken effect.
The move comes hours after the two sides agreed to end more than 10 days of fighting that claimed hundreds of lives.
The truce, mediated by Egypt, began at 2 a.m. in Israel. That's 6 p.m. Thursday here in Minnesota, as people on either side of the divide watched nervously to see whether it would hold. Israeli airstrikes could finally stop after a week and a half if Hamas and Israel adhere to a ceasefire. Earlier, the Army released video showing a strike on Hamas tunnels, but they've also bombed families. 14-year-old Gaza resident Amira Islim was in the living room when the missile hit. In Israel, workers roped off a house hit by a Palestinian rocket. 70-year-old Eli Hassan says he'd rather Hamas surrender.
We are engaged right now in forceful deterrence.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had been under increasing pressure from the U.S. to agree to a ceasefire. His Security Council has now unanimously accepted an Egyptian proposal. Israel and Hamas do not negotiate with one another. Late today, President Biden addressed the ceasefire.
I believe the Palestinians and Israelis equally deserve to live safely and securely and to enjoy equal measures of freedom, prosperity, and democracy. My administration will continue our quiet, relentless diplomacy toward that end.
At least 230 have been killed in Gaza, including dozens of children. Since the fighting began last Monday, 12 people in Israel have also died, including one child. Diplomats from Egypt, Qatar, and the United Nations have mediated between Israel and Hamas over the years with little prolonged success. Hamas has never recognized Israel's existence, and Israel considers Hamas a terrorist organization.
Summer swimming season is within sight. How you can stay safe from pool outbreaks.
Plus, the end of an era, the web browser on its way out. Well, as we get ready to dive into the summer swimming season, the CDC is warning that even if a pool is treated, it could still get a bunch of people sick.
A new study released by the CDC shows more than 200 outbreaks were linked to treated water venues from 2015 to 2019. Those venues include pools, hot tubs, and water playgrounds.
The outbreaks led to more than 3,600 cases of illness or even 13 deaths. The deaths were all connected to a Legionnaire's disease outbreak, which is a waterborne illness.
The CDC says swimmers should avoid swallowing water and they should not swim if they have an upset stomach.
Good advice.
Well, a new bill introduced by a bipartisan group of senators is aiming to reform the struggling U.S. Postal Service. The Postal Service Reform Act of 2021 would cut the requirement for the post office to pre-fund its pension for retirees. The bill would also integrate retirees' health care with Medicare. Lawmakers say those two reforms would save the Postal Service more than $45 billion over the next decade. The bill would also require USPS to continue delivering at least 6 days a week.
Microsoft is saying goodbye to Internet Explorer. The company is ending support for the browser next year. Internet Explorer debuted in 1995 and was once the most used web browser. Windows users will still have access to Microsoft Edge, the company's more modern browser. Edge is based on Google's open source Chrome code, whatever that is, and has gained traction in recent years. It is the Stanley Cup playoffs, and our Minnesota Wild and the Golden Knights are going head-to-head right now on the ice.
Plus, Tim Tebow is making a comeback, the transition this former quarterback is making. Minnesota Wild are back home tonight for Game 3 of their Stanley Cup Series against the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
Knights lead 3-2 at the end of the second period. The first period was great. I was loving this. We saw both Joel Eriksson-Ek and Ryan Hartman put the puck in the goal. Arguably, that duo gets more attention for their defensive prowess going into the season. In fact, there was talk the Wild would need Hartman, Ek, and Foligno as well to step up and play suffocating defense, and that's just what the team did as they made their run toward the Stanley Cup playoffs. But tonight, right now, the team is down. My little boy is home wearing his Wild jersey and cheering for his team. Colton, I'm with you, buddy. They'll win.
Minnesota Twins reliever Tyler Duffy is appealing his 3-game suspension. The penalty was imposed for intentionally throwing behind Yermin Mercedes of the White Sox on Tuesday. Twins manager Rocco Baldelli was suspended for 1 game, missing the second game of the Twins doubleheader against the Los Angeles Angels today.
Tim Tebow's back in the NFL, joining the Jacksonville Jaguars. Who predicted this? That was me. Yep. The former quarterback will transition to tight end. The 33-year-old says he knows it will be a challenge. We showed this video to Katie. She said he's still in very good shape. Is he ready to embrace this, though? It's something we hear about all the time. By the way, he's reunited with Urban Meyer, who coached him at Florida. He's such a nice kid. You just got to love Tim Tebow. He's 33, but I can call him a kid because he's such a nice kid. You want to do the weather, Erin?
Sure thing, George. As we look at our 7-day forecast one more time, going through the rest of today, or I should say tonight into tomorrow. We got some rain showers out there for your Friday morning, maybe a few storms for the afternoon. Highs back into the 70s. We got 80s in the forecast, though, going into the weekend. Maybe a few more storms coming in for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, but that's about it. Katie and George.
All right. Thanks, Erin. And thanks for making us your choice for local news.
We look forward to seeing you bright and early tomorrow morning at 4:30 for Daybreak, and then we're all going to be back here tomorrow night at 10. You're going to be here, right, Katie?
I'll be here.
Good. See you then.